In Chapter 3 of Poppy Playtime, we had to defeat Catnap. We seemingly destroyed him and went with Poppy and Kissy Missy to go further beneath Playtime Co. However, when we go down, Kissy Missy is attacked. We weren't able to help her, and this is where the game left off at.
Hold on, Kissy! I'm coming! It's not like anything you've seen above. It's not trying to hide what it is. It's hell. And Playtime wanted it to be.
Poppy goes back up to save Kissy Missy, leaving us in the trenches of this new underworld to explore. When we do find the key, we get a glimpse at how much darker this chapter is. We see the corpse of one of the orphans that was trapped down here. The game has tapes that gives us some background as to what really happened here. This corpse that we saw is one of the orphans that was just 12 years old. She lost her parents and became one of Playtime Co.'s orphans. This orphanage that Playtime Co. has was a cover-up that allowed the company to experiment on the kids, transferring her and other orphans' bodies into the toys. This prison we're exploring is where they kept the orphans until it was time to experiment on them, turning them into living toys. We take the key and start the train, and this is where we get our first interaction with the doctor. He seems to control everything down here. We eventually find out his name is HEREEE Sawyer. Now remember that name because it's going to become very important later on in this video. He's the one that created a lot of these toys we've been seeing throughout all the different chapters of Poppy Playtime. However, he doesn't come without mistakes. He's had incidents where toys have escaped, attacking tourists and employees. HEREEE was too much of a liability, so Playtime Co. used his own science against him, trapping HEREEE inside of a computer. Doing this, they thought he could do no harm.
This is wrong. You must have done something wrong. Some disorientation is to be expected. You have no idea what kind of mistake you just made.
Really? From where I'm sitting, you're the one who keeps making mistakes that need fixing. We gave you so many opportunities to clean up your own messes, but you just couldn't do it, could you?
Wanting revenge, he forms an alliance with the prototype, who we still don't know much about. They made a plan that is now called the Hour of Joy. This caused a massacre as the staff was brutally murdered by the mascot toys, demolishing thousands of Playtime Co. workers. We eventually get introduced to Yarnaby, who's a lion-like creature, and we have to use our stealth skills to get past him. After this, we finally get to see the beloved Pianosaurus. Oof, never mind. This is when we're introduced to Doughy the Doughman. We find out he's been working with Poppy and Ollie to defeat the prototype. He's the kid that we saw at the very beginning of the game. His name's Jack and he wins a trip to the Playtime Co. factory. He thought this was going to be one of the best days of his life when it was far from it. He ends up falling off the catwalk into the vat of Play-Doh like goop, turning him into this creature, Doughy the Doughman. In a letter, we find out Jack's parents were secretly invited back. His parents come to visit him, but he doesn't remember them. In a fit of rage, he crushes them, thinking they're the scientists that were experimenting on him. Now, Doughy isn't actually just one kid, he's actually three fused together with their own personalities. We have Jack, who fell into the vat of Play-Doh. Then from a letter that we received, we learned about Matthew, who plays more of the leader role. He was older than most of the other orphans and played more of a parental leader role and wanting to protect them. The next is Kevin, who was more of a problem child. We learn more about him from this VHS tape. He's most likely the reason Doughy crashes out, destroying Jack's parents and trying to destroy us later in the game. They were all morphed together, fighting for control in Doughy's mind, making him friendly and unpredictable.
One Kevin Barnes in relation to Project Doughy. The neural abnormalities noted in Dr. Newman's report are detailed in connection to behavioral issues demonstrated within Playcare. Trouble getting along with others, aggressive and often confrontational social tendencies, and an otherwise combative nature clearly relay that Kevin is, put simply, a problem child. What friends he does have, he's reported to have attacked in moments of intense play. These tendencies raise concerns.
Dogday leads us to the safe haven, but since he can slip through the small cracks, we have to find another way. While searching, we're reunited with Kissy, Missy, and Poppy. However, if you pay close attention, you get a look at this scorpion spider-like shadow. This is actually the prototype, and it's speculated that the prototype is the one that actually attacked Kissy and Missy at the end of chapter 3. When we finally make it to the safe haven, Dogday's upset that we led the prototype there. Poor Kissy Missy, she really went through it, and you can see all these gashes and burn marks on her face. Her arm's broken, foreshadowing what's to come. Also, something that was really interesting was Dogday was surprised to see Poppy at the safe haven. When we listen to some of the other toys, so are they. It seems like Poppy had some type of leader role for the toys in the safe haven, but was captured by their prototype, put into this glass box. Now the toys seem to not trust her.
Poppy doing here?
I don't know, they just let her in.
Why? That's inviting a whole lot of trouble we don't need. I mean, how do we even know we can trust her this time?
We don't know, so let's just be careful, especially around her new friend.
Employee. Can't forget that.
Shh, I think they might be listening.
And honestly, Poppy's kind of a coward, leaving the toys behind when things get tough. She may have lied to them like how she lied to us at the end of chapter 2, making us take the train. Poppy wants us to plant these explosives to destroy everything in the Playtime Co. factory. However, Dogday has conflicting interests. He doesn't want the toys he loves destroyed.
Toys out there in Safe Haven. They're my family. I understand what Poppy wants. What she believes is right. Destroy the factory. Destroy him. But I ask you to consider, if we throw everything away, everyone, just to kill the prototype, how much do we waste?
However, the prototype got access to the safe haven, blowing it up with the toys inside of it. Dogday, seeing his friends now dead, crashes out, blaming us and Poppy.
My friends! He killed my friends! You. It all started with you. You and her. It was you who ruined everything!
Dogday goes insane as we see the different personalities emerge. Kevin, the one filled with rage, wins, and Dogday smashes to the ground, causing a new monstrous form.
I'll kill you!
I think the creatures we see inside of Dogday's mouth are the conflicting kids fighting over control, crying out in anger. We freeze Dogday and finally destroy him. It's kinda sad as Dogday apologizes. He just wanted to be good and help his friends. Everything he's gone through has messed him up. He had to be a leader and all that pressure just got to him. Seeing his friends now gone was the final straw.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We find out that Poppy is the daughter of the Playtime creator Ludwig. This kind of explains the name of the game, Poppy Playtime. Poppy's dad creating toys for her to play with and kids all over the world. Only thing is, things became sinister. Poppy now trapped in a toy that was supposed to be played with. We eventually find Poppy and Kissy Missy hiding in the ventilation tunnels. Ollie calls, but sounds a bit different. We find out Ollie is actually the prototype. This actually confirms my theory in chapter 3. I always thought he was weird. Ollie was nowhere to be seen, but knew everything. Ollie was once Poppy's friend, but the prototype got to him, making him a tool to get to Poppy. What's interesting is the prototype says Poppy is important to him.
It's time to come home.
I can't go back in the case. I can't. I'm sorry.
Now, why is Poppy so important to the prototype? The prototype then blows up the vents. Kissy actually saves us, but not without struggle. Her arm rips off as we fall below. I feel so bad for Kissy Missy. She's been traumatized by everything that's happened. You can even see her shaking as Ollie reveals that he's actually the prototype. The only person there to comfort Kissy is Poppy, and she's not even a true friend. We found out that Poppy knew about the Hour of Joy. We even see Kissy's arm on the ground. It's so sad. As we move forward, we come across a lab with poppy flowers. Maybe this has something to do with the prototype wanting to keep Poppy locked up. It was said earlier in the games that Poppy was made out of poppy flowers. Maybe they're somehow the source of how she's alive, and he wants to keep studying her and the plants, trying to see how he can create life from other things. We enter a door that has a white tape sitting on the table. When we play the tape, we find out that we're actually in a high security clearance area and we will be shot on sight. Outside the chamber, we see Huggy. He pounds on the door, screaming at us. Huggy somehow survived the fall from chapter 1. Looking at him, we can see the bandages as someone must have stitched him back up, possibly the prototype. What's interesting is that when you inspect the game, you can see Kissy Missy and then she turns into Huggy. There's a theory that Huggy and Kissy Missy are actually the same character. Make sure to follow because I'll be doing another video about that, going into more detail. So now that this has happened, what's going to happen in chapter 5? Seems like we'll have to save the orphan children. However, if I'm not mistaken, all this took place a while ago, so maybe they're not kids anymore. Unless they're frozen, and even if they are, I wouldn't be surprised if the kids are now gone and the prototype is luring us down there so that he can use our body as a vessel for him to take over. What do you guys think of this theory, and what do you guys think of Poppy Playtime chapter 4? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like Poppy Playtime and you want me to do even more, make sure to like the video and leave a comment. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.